Gael Garcia Bernal is a total kilf. Conquistador I'd like to fuck. Magellan was the Philippines' Oscar submission for 2025. It didn't make the cut, but that doesn't mean it's not an exquisite historical epic. Now, when we think epic, we think very long and we think grandeur. Do we just want the cosplay of history, putting on a costume and swashbuckling like we're in a video game? Or do we want the actual rhythms and atmosphere of what history might have been like? Magellan is here to challenge both of those ideas and possibly your patience. Gael Garcia Bernal plays Ferdinand Magellan, the 16th century explorer who led a Spanish expedition to find new trade routes through the Pacific Ocean. He's hoping to reach the Spice Islands and open up trade for Europe. But soon on the voyage at sea, he faces mutinies, sickness, and the natural elements, before landing in the Philippines. It's here where his hubris and zealotry leads him to try to convert the natives, which, if we know anything about history, doesn't always bode well. Magellan is helmed by Filipino director Lav Diaz. In fact, Magellan is kind of his breakthrough film, and strangely, it's his most accessible, at a brisk 160 minutes. Diaz is famous in art house circles for basically being the king of slow cinema. And no, we're not talking slow like, oh, that A24 film dragged a little in the middle. No. We're talking about prolonged narrative films that range from 4 to 8 hours, with static compositions, very little camera movement, and very little dialogue. Basically, he's your pretentious idea of what an international art house filmmaker is. But to me, a movie being slow isn't really a criticism. Now, if that slowness and that sense of pace drags down the type of story it's trying to tell, yes, that's valid. Just because a movie bores you, well, that doesn't necessarily mean there's something inherently wrong with it. And with all slow cinema, it teaches you how to watch it. The camera doesn't move. We get fixed off shots of amazing tableaus. We get only the essential dialogue we need. So we have to go at the movie's pace, not our own pace. That means you might get a little bored, you might daydream, you might even doze off. But that's kind of normal, and that's not a fault of the film. For me, I started my slow cinema journey in college, where I expanded to other types of films, often in foreign languages. There were the works of Andrei Tarkovsky, whose philosophical films invited me into a different kind of pacing. And then there was my introduction into slow Eastern cinema with Apichatpong Weerasethakul's Tropical Malady, which became one of my favorite films of the 2000s. Basically, you have to train yourself how to watch films like this. And to be honest, Magellan is a pretty good starter film for slow cinema, because Diaz presents history to us almost like we're looking through a window at it actually happening. Back in the 16th century, life and travel in existence was just slower. So by focusing his camera on the natural world, on civilizations as they just exist, well, he captures history in a more authentic way than your Hollywood epic that just wants to play dress up. And with an actor like Gael Garcia Bernal, who's been exceptional for the past 25 years, he's a familiar entry into this new world. But besides all that, there is actually a story here, because this is a story of Magellan's hubris, of his folly in not just exploring the dangerous natural world, but believing he can control it. And because Diaz rejects psychologizing his character, then that means we have to pay more attention to Magellan's actions. And say what you want about putting a 2026 lens on history, but Magellan is kind of an asshole. And colonization is kind of dumb. And Diaz knows this. He doesn't alter history to fit his thesis, because he doesn't have to. History proved it right. This is Lav Diaz kind of turning the clock back to pre-colonial Philippines and seeing the potential of his nation and his people before they were conquered. And I'd say that Diaz's style in telling this slice of history suits it way better than just giving us a political screed. And he kind of lulls us into his message with his breathtaking cinematography, which was filmed on a prosumer cinema camera. He puts this small camera in places we wouldn't expect, turning the image into a window that we can view history through, which makes this an incredibly immersive and tactile experience. But for a lot of you, you might not be able to get through this film. It might just be too slow, too monotonous for you. But I would say give slow cinema a try. Rewire your brain to experience films of a different pace and rhythm. Because once you do, like I did, it opens up the possibilities of cinema. Magellan is the definition of slow cinema, but it is a mesmerizing and tactile experience, bolstered by a captivating Gael Garcia Bernal. Filmmaker Lav Diaz immerses us into history almost as if we're seeing it happen in front of us. I give Magellan an exceptional 4 out of 5 stars. If you like this review, please like and subscribe or follow me on Letterboxd at RamirezS316. Personally, I think we need more hot conquistador films. I'm talking Austin Butler as Cortez, or Ryan Gosling as Columbus, or Timothy Chalamet as Ponce de Leon, or Paul Giamatti as Pizarro. What? You don't find him hot?